Video captured on a Ring doorbell camera.
Open the door!
3 people wearing Halloween masks terrorizing a family in Alexandria, Virginia, just outside Washington, D.C., late Tuesday night.
The worst nightmare.
The 3 apparently laughing at first, but their actions quickly becoming more sinister. From pulling on the front door
Open the door! Open the door!
to making the motion of cutting their throat before threatening to break into the house.
I'm gonna count to 10. If this door doesn't open, we're gonna come in. 1, 2.
I said Happy Halloween when they first came, asked them to get off the property. When they didn't, that's when I realized it wasn't a joke anymore.
Our ABC affiliate WJLA speaking with Shayla, one of those family members inside. She says the 3 never got into the house.
They tore the whole thing down.
She says they made their way to the backyard, destroying her fence and the screen to the back door.
They came through there, and that's how they entered to get to our door to be able to knock on the back door.
I'm not aware of incidents that have occurred this heinous before, and that's why it's so concerning.
Police in Alexandria now investigating, the chief calling this video very alarming.
But we're going to take every step once we identify them to prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law.
Investigators say what may be seen as a prank days before Halloween is no joke.
Going around to their backyard, destroying property, and transitions from a prank to a criminal offense. And we take these incidents seriously.
And the chief says his message to whoever did this is turn yourself in. Shayla says that is her mom's house. Her mom now lives in fear because they do not know who did this. Police say they have promising leads with.
Well, that's good that they have leads. They're just terrifying case.
Really terrifying.
Thank you, Perry. We appreciate it.
All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, which is to say in the Paleo Hebrew, Yahweh, which is the name of our Heavenly Father, meaning He is, and that is who the world ignorantly calls God. Bahashem, which means in the name, Yahweh Shai, which means He is our salvation, and that is who the world also ignorantly calls Jesus, a so-called black man, who, by the way, only came for the Israelites, all right? Which brings us to our discussion / topic this evening. Quit playing with the Lord, okay? Quit playing with the Lord, all right? Now, as you can see from the video that was just played, you had 3 individuals dressed up in Halloween attire coming to this person's door and ringing the doorbell and giving them threats, as in open the door before I count to 10 or I'm going to come in, okay? And they weren't pranking. Make no mistake about it. They were not pranking. And had that door been unlocked, they would have came in. All right. And only to come to find out that it was the house of an elderly woman. All right. See, the Lord, when it's time for judgment to go out on a mass scale, the Lord isn't going to care whether you're elderly, whether you're young, whether you're disabled, whatever. If you haven't been doing what is required of you in this time that was allotted to you and given to you to repent, the Lord is going to send those spirits created for vengeance, okay? And unless you are exempt from those spirits created for vengeance, you're going to be judged, okay? And we seen a scenario where such one was about to be judged, but the Lord spared her, or at least preserved her for either a more harsh judgment if she doesn't repent. Because you can bet she's elderly. She probably still believes in Jesus. Probably got pictures of Jesus hanging up in her house. Probably got trick-or-treat candy on the doorsteps, okay? Because you heard her daughter said what? I wish them a happy Halloween, all right? Showing you that our people are still in that spirit of mirth, wanting a Halloween, wanting Thanksgiving, wanting Christmas. And you can bet that they're going to all partake in those holidays that's coming up this time of the year. All right. But see, the Lord ain't playing anymore. All right. The Lord, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shah, is not playing anymore. Those days are coming to an end when you're going to be able to yell, I didn't know, Lord. No. Okay. You ain't going to be able to yell that anymore. All right. All that hypocrisy is going to be thrown out the window. Okay. You can't say you serving the Lord and then you turn around and you celebrating Halloween. All right. You can't say you serving the Lord and you turn around and celebrate Thanksgiving. All right. So on and so forth. No. The Lord's going to choose that delusion. All right. And he's going to bring it. So this is the book of Isaiah 66 and verse 3. It reads, he that killeth an ox is as if he slew a man. He that sacrificeth a lamb as if he cut off a dog's neck. He that offereth an oblation as if he offered swine's blood. He that burneth incense as if he blessed an idol. Yea, they have chosen their own ways, and their soul delighteth in their abominations. See? So you can't be claiming to serve the Lord and you doing things that's contrary to the Lord. All right? Because you, what? Are leaning on your own understanding. When this truth gives us the blueprint on how to serve the Lord with our whole heart. All right? And we have to put away the ways of this world. All right? Or if we still choose to be delusional, as if Yahweh Shai only, as if Yahweh Shai didn't only come for the Israelites, then you're going to be given those delusions when judgment comes. If we choose to be delusional that all people can be saved, especially the so-called white man, the Lord going to send us strong delusions. All right? That we what? Might believe a lie. Because why? We rejected the truth. So it says, verse 4, I also will choose their delusions. Okay? And when you go into that word delusions in the Hebrew,
Strong's H 8586 Ta'alulim.
the outline biblical usage is wantoniness, caprice, vexation. All right? You don't think that woman was frightened? You don't think she was vexed by the sight of 3 masked people coming with the intention of harming her? Of course, and especially if she lived alone by herself. All right? It ain't the normal knock on the door, trick or treat, 6 and 7 and 8-year-olds that's coming for candy. No, these are grown people. That scene right there kind of remind me of that Purge scene. When them people was dressed up with masks on their head, on their faces, and they was asking to send that so-called black man out because they wanted to purge. Well, that same spirit is getting ready to visit the earth. Okay? So the Lord's going to choose your delusion because why? You were delusional in your worshiping of the Lord. All right? So it says, I will also choose their delusions and will bring their fears upon them because when I called, none did answer. See? You wanted to stay in that spirit of mirth, celebrating Halloween, celebrating Thanksgiving, celebrating Christmas, celebrating New Year's, always thinking that you was going to have the next year to celebrate it. But the Lord is going to shake up things and he's going to start allowing his judgments to come out and be known on this earth. Okay? It says, when I called, none did answer. When I spake, they did not hear. See? They wanted to continue to make oblations to the Lord, but in his eyes, they were what? It says, he that offered an oblation as if he offered swine's blood. See? The Lord isn't accepting any of your sacrifices, any of your oblations, any of your incense, because you're doing them all in vain. All right? As it says in Amos 5 and what is that, 18 or 19? It says, Amos 5 and 21, I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assembly. So the Lord isn't accepting your sacrifices, your oblations, your incense. Because why? You're delusional to think that you're sacrificing to him while calling on the name of God or Jesus, or celebrating holidays that's not in the Bible. Holidays aren't in the Bible. Holy days are in the Bible. All right? And we have our holy days that we acknowledge and participate in. And Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas, no matter how you try to justify it, ain't them. Okay? So since you're delusional and believing that they are, the Lord is going to what? He's going to send you a strong delusion. All right? So back to Isaiah 60. Where were we at? 60. Isaiah 60. 66 and 4, it says, let's just start at the top of 4 again. It says, I also will choose their delusions and will bring their fears upon them, because when I called, none did answer. How is he calling? By the way of his servants, the prophets, and you don't want to answer. You don't want to take heed. So guess what? You're going to get this same fear. All right? Masked men and women showing up, acting as if they're trick-or-treating, but they're actually looking to trick you into treating their sensational appetite, which is a lust of blood, because that's what they want. All right? They want to come in and they want to get some of your blood. All right? They want to unalive you, because why? They are spirits created for vengeance. Ecclesiasticus 39 and 28. All right? And those spirits that are created for vengeance are out for blood. Okay? And they jump on people to enact and to act out those acts. So it says, when I called, none did answer. When I spake, they did not hear, but they did evil before my eyes and chose that in which I delighted not. See? So you got to pay for your actions, okay? For you thinking that you serving the Lord when you know you ain't, but you want to be delusional that you is, the Lord is going to send you delusions, okay? This is, of course, Satan want to try his best to interrupt this word. This is 2 Thessalonians 2 in verse 10. It says, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause, the Most High shall send them strong delusions. So you're going to get delusions sent on you. Let's see what this word delusions in the Greek is referring to.
Strong's G 4106. Plane.
It goes into wandering, a straying about, one led astray from the right way, roams hither and thither, metaphorically, mentally straying, error, wrong opinions relative to morals or religion, error, which shows itself in action, a wrong mode of acting, error, that which leads unto error, deceit or fraud. See? So you're going to be given delusions, all right? Fraud, deceit. You're going to think that everything is safe when it's actually not safe, all right? And these spirits that are created for vengeance are going to pop up more frequently, because why? We at the end of this thing. All right, we at the end of this man's kingdom. All right, so you're going to see spirits turned up to the nth degree. All right, because judgment is getting ready to go out on a mass scale. All right, and if you ain't in that safe place, that strong tower, that shadow of the Almighty, you're going to get visited by these delusions, these spirits, okay, that were created for vengeance. And the Lord knows your delusion. He knows what fear, he knows what gets you fearful. He knows what vexes you. He knows what's going to be used to deceit and to use to against you to what? Hey, cause whatever judgment that he sees fits to be caused, okay? So we just here to tell you to get it while you can. You know, get this truth while it's still available, okay? Because once it's taken off the internet and off the streets, the delusions are going to come at a high rate or a high clip. And you not knowing what's the delusions and what's the actuality or the facts is going to allow a lot of people to run down and get that chip, all right? Just out of safety, okay? So this is the times that we coming into, okay? Delusions is part of it, because why? As we did the lesson earlier this morning, afternoon, live, you would have to be a fool not to see that this man's kingdom is ending, all right? And by fool, you know, you have to be deceived, all right? Part of being deceived is believing delusions, all right? And the Lord is all for it, because why? You didn't believe the truth. We read it, okay? Let's read it again. It says, verse 11, 2 Thessalonians 2:11, and for this cause the Most High shall send them strong delusions, that they should believe a lie, okay? Ma'am, we'll send an officer out there to check on the spot. You know, just give us a moment, and nobody's coming to check on your spot. You're going to be there to defend for yourself. And if you're an elderly woman, or if you're a woman in general, and you got people looking in your house or looking through your windows, knocking on your doors, ringing the bell, you're gonna be very afraid, all right? And rightfully so, all right? Because the end for you is all but, you know, just secure for them breaking in your house, taking you, doing as they please, all right? Because we already know what they got on their mind. They got blood on their mind, all right? So these times are real, and we getting ready to go into them. And, you know, it's best to have the Lord on your side, okay, than to have him against you, all right? So, hey, it's not a prank, all right? It's not a prank. As Ghetto Boy said, Bushwick Bill, this year, you know, I was trick-or-treating, all right? And come to realize, he thought he was beating up somebody, but he was hitting the concrete. All right, them delusions, man. All right, so get right with the Lord while you still got time, and seek him, okay? So let's finish up and close out with 1 Peter 5 and 8. This is the book of 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 8. It reads, be sober. Now is the time to be sober, because once the mayhem and chaos ensue, and delusions are running wild, you ain't gonna be sober in that time. It's gonna be too much going on for you to get your mind right to be sober. You're gonna be part of the distraction, part of the delusion. So it says, be sober, be vigilant. This is the time now to get a sober mind, to be vigilant. Not when all hell breaks loose, not when you got three, you know, look like to be masked murders knocking on your door, ringing your doorbell. No, you don't want to try to get sober then. You want to be able to call them the names. All right? And let the Lord do as he will. Okay? So now is the time to be sober and be vigilant. Why? Because your adversary, the devil, these Edomites, they can't wait for the society to crumble and to fall, and they can have a free fall. They coming right to your neighborhoods, all right? They already here, in the form of ICE and other agencies, but you're going to have just the regular Edomites, the civilians that want to get their payback, okay? They coming, all right? It says, because your adversary, the devil, the so-called white man, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour, all right? And delusions is going to be part of his, his grand finale, okay? And the Lord is going to allow him to do so, okay? Because why? You didn't seek Yahweh while he may be found. So what can the Lord do for you, all right? He can't do anything for you, okay? But allow you to be given over to the hands of this devil, all right? So now is the time to make the most of it while you can and sober up. Get your mind right. Get your house in order, your temple, your body, your mind, everything before it's too late, okay? Before this word is gone. This is time sensitive. Once this word is gone and you can't find it, then you're going to believe a lie, okay? You're going to believe that delusion, all right? So we're going to end on that. And with that being said, pray someone was edified through this lesson. And until the next time, if it be the Lord's will, stay strong, stay in the faith. We're almost home. Shalom. Peace.